Hello and welcome to today's edition of the Daf Yomi. This is Daf 43 Omen B of Menachos, Tractate Menachos, or in the Mesach Menachos. So let's dive straight in. So just finishing off on the last Daf, it says, Rabbanon, the Gemara asks, and the rabbis who disagree with Rabbi Shimon, what do they with? What do they with? I'll stop in the middle of the sentence. Ma'avdila, what do they with? Rashi explained that the explanation suggested previously that this phrase includes the garment of a blind man is not feasible according to the rabbis, since they hold that even a nighttime garment requires ritual fringes. It is obvious that the garment of a blind man, which can be seen by others, requires ritual fringes, says Rashi. How do they interpret this verse, with which you cover yourself, in Deuteronomy 22:12? The Gemara answers that the rabbis require it for that which is taught in a brisa. The phrase "on the four corners of your garment," Deuteronomy 22:12, indicates that one is required to attach ritual fringes to a garment that has four corners, but not to one that has three corners. So what does that mean? A garment that does not have four corners is exempt from ritual fringes. If a garment has more than four corners, it is obligated to have ritual fringes, and these are attached to the four corners that are farthest apart from each other. And that's in the Rambam Sefer Hava Hilchos Sitzis 3:3, Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim 10:1. The Braita continues. Do you say that a garment with four corners is obligated, but not a garment with three corners? Or is it teaching only that a garment with four corners is obligated, but not a garment that has five corners? When the verse says, with which you cover yourself, a garment with five corners is thereby mentioned in the verse as being obligated. Then how do you realize the meaning of on the four corners of your garment? It teaches that this obligation is limited to a garment that has four corners, but not to one that has three corners. The Gemara asks, but what did you see that led you to include a garment with five corners and to exclude a garment with three corners, rather than including a garment with three corners and excluding a garment with five corners? The Gemara answers, I include a garment with five corners, as five includes four. A five-corner garment is obligated because it is essentially a four-corner garment with an additional corner. Consequently, ritual fringes are attached only to four of the corners. The halacha is the same for a garment with more than five corners, and that's in the Rambam Sefer Hava Hilchos Sitzis 3:3. And I exclude a garment with three corners, and three does not include four. The Gemara asks, and how does Rabbi Shimon derive the halacha that a five-corner garment is required to have ritual fringes? The Gemara answers he derives it from the seemingly extraneous word with which Asher you cover yourself, Deuteronomy 22:12. The Gemara asks, and what do the rabbis derive from this word? The Gemara answers, they do not learn any halachas from the word which Asher. The Gemara asks, and as for the rabbis, what did they do with this phrase that you may look upon it in Numbers 15:39, from which Rabbi Shimon derives a nighttime garment is exempt? The Gemara answers, they require it for that which is taught in a brayta. The verse that you may look upon it and remember, Numbers 15:39, teaches that one should see this mitzvah of ritual fringes and remember another mitzvah that's contingent on it. And which mitzvah is that? Is the mitzvah recitation of Shema. As we learn in a Mishnah in Brachot 9b, from when may one recite Shema in the morning, from when one can distinguish between the sky blue strings and the white strings of its ritual fringes. And it is taught in another brayta, the phrase that you may look upon it and remember teaches that one should see this mitzvah of ritual fringes and remember another mitzvah that is adjacent to it in the Torah. And which mitzvah is that? Is a mitzvah of diverse kinds of wool and linen. As it is written, you shall not wear diverse kinds of wool and linen together, you shall prepare for yourself twisted cords. In Deuteronomy 22:11-12. It is taught in another brayta. The verse states that you may look upon it and know all the commandments of the Lord. In Numbers 15:39, this indicates that one person obligated in this mitzvah of ritual fringes, he's obligated in all the mitzvah. Kevan shenischayev adam b'mitzvah zu nischayev b'chol mitzvahs kulon. Once a person is obligated in this mitzvah of ritual fringes, he's obligated in all of the mitzvah. Rashi explains that this to mean that once morning arrives and one becomes obligated in mitzvah ritual fringes, he becomes obligated in all mitzvah, because many mitzvah apply specifically during the daytime. This is according to the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, who holds that the mitzvah ritual fringes do not apply at night. Alternatively, Rashi explains that once an individual becomes obligated in this mitzvah, when he reaches the age of majority, he becomes obligated in all of the mitzvah. And see the Marashal Tzfat Emes. There are more comments. And this is according to the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, who says that that ritual fringes are positive Taiba mitzvah, and women are exempt from it. Only men are obligated in all mitzvot, including positive Taiba mitzvot, just as they are obligated in the mitzvah of ritual fringes. It is taught in another Baita. The verse says that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord. This teaches that this mitzvah of ritual fringes is equivalent to all the mitzvah of the Torah. So what does that mean? Mitzvah the connected called mitzvah kulon. This is because the mitzvah of ritual fringes reminds one to fulfill all of the mitzvah. And that's in the Eid Yaakov, see the Sifrei. And it is taught in another Baita. The verse states that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord and do them. It teaches that looking at the ritual fringes leads one to remembering the mitzvot, and remembering them leads them to doing them. And Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai says, anyone who is diligent in his mitzvah of ritual fringes merits receiving the divine presence. One should be very diligent to fulfill the mitzvah of ritual fringes, as the Torah equates it to all the mitzvot and states that it is a reminder for all the mitzvot. As the verse states, you shall look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord in Numbers 15:39. One who is diligent in performing this mitzvah merits receiving the divine presence. And that's in the Rambam Sefer Hava, Hilchot 3:12, Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim 24:6. It is written here that you may look upon it, Oto, in Numbers 15:39, and it is written there, you shall fear the Lord your God, and him, Oto, you shall serve, Deuteronomy 6:13. Rabbeinu Gershom Moragol explains that this inference is from the term you shall fear Terah, which is being interpreted as though it is referred to seeing ear. It would appear that this is also due to the statement that sky blue resembles the throne of glory, which is derived from the verse. And they saw Veyiru, the God of Israel, and there was under his feet like a paved wood of sapphire stone, and the light of the very heaven for clearness. In Exodus 24:10, in this verse, a term Veyiru is understood as a reference to receiving the divine presence. The sages taught in a Baita. The Jewish people are beloved, as the holy must be surrounding them with mitzvot. They have phylacteries on their heads, and phylacteries on their arms, and ritual fringes on their garments, and a mezuzah for their doorways. Concerning them, David said, 7 times a day I praise you because of your righteous ordinances, in Psalms 119 and 164. This alludes to phylacteries, the 4 ritual fringes, and the mezuzah, which total 7. And when David entered the bathhouse and saw himself standing naked, he said, woe to me that I stand naked without any mitzvah. But once he remembered the mitzvah of circumcision that was in his flesh, his mind was put at ease. As he realized he was still accompanied by this mitzvah. As he left the bathhouse, he recited a song about the mitzvah of circumcision, as is stated in the verse for the leader of the Sheminith, a psalm of David, in Psalms 12:1. This is interpreted as a psalm about circumcision, which was given to be performed on the 8th Shemini day of the baby's life. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says, anyone who has phylacteries on his head, the early sages said, anyone who has phylacteries on his head and arm, ritual fringes on his garment, and a mezuzah on his doorway, is protected from sin by these mitzvot, which remind him of his responsibilities. These mitzvot are referred to as angels that protect them from sin, as the verse says in Psalm 34:8, the angel of the Lord encamps round about them that fear him and delivers them. Rambam Sefer Hava, Sefer Torah 6:13. Phylacteries on his arm, ritual fringes on his garment, and mezuzah on his door is strengthened from all sides so that he will not sin. As is stated in the verse, and a threefold cord is not easily broken. Ecclesiastes 4:12. The verse deals with protection from one's enemy. At the beginning of the verse states, and if a man prevail against him that he is alone, 2 shall withstand him. In Ecclesiastes 4:12. This is interpreted as allusion to the mitzvot of phylacteries, ritual fringes, and mezuzah. And the verse states, and the angel of the Lord encamps around them that fear him and delivers them in Psalms 34:8. This is interpreted to mean that the angel of the Lord surrounds those who fulfill the mitzvot and saves them from sin. As is taught in the Baita. Rabbi Meir would say, what is different about the chelet from all of the types of colors such that it was chosen for the mitzvah of ritual fringes. It is because the cheder is similar in its color in the sea. Tchelet doma liyom. The precise identification of the color tchelet is uncertain, as the names used in all languages to refer to rabbis' hues have shifted over time. Even the description of the Gemara here is not absolute, as the heavens and the sea have different hues depending on factors such as the time of day and the different seasons. There are several different opinions as to the color of tchelet in the early commentaries. The Sadi Gaon and the Rambam hold that it is the color of a clear sky, namely light blue. Rashi refers to Chelet as a shade of green, possibly a reference to turquoise. Moshe Hadarshan holds that it refers to the color of the sky when it darkens toward the end of the day. According to this opinion, the Chelet is closer to purple. A similar range of opinions can be found in the works of modern researchers who have attempted to identify the chilazon from which the dye is extracted. Another method of identifying the color of the Chelet is to identify Kala Ilan, whose color is indistinguishable from Techelet. If Kala Ilan is indigo, as widely assumed, it was seen that Techelet is a deep, dark blue. Techelet Domayom. Whenever the Torah refers to Techelet, it's referring to wool dyed with a blue dye that is the hue of a clear sky on a sunny day. Mama Sefer Haba, Hilchot 2:1, and Sefer Avodas Hilchot Kliya Midlas 8:13, and the Mahalki Kochas there. And the sea is similar to the sky, and the sky is similar to the throne of glory. The Chisa are covered. Consequently, one who sees the sky blue strings of the ritual fringe is a reminder of God who sits on the throne of glory. Additionally, it is a privilege for the Jewish people to have a sign of the throne of glory on their garments, says Rashi, as an indication of God's affection for them. In his commentary on chapter 89a, Rashi explains that when God looks at the throne of glory, he's reminded of this mitzvah, which is equivalent to all of the mitzvah. As it is stated, and they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet. The verse indicates that the sapphire stone has the appearance of the heavens. The following verse teaches that this is the appearance of the throne of glory. This indicates that the appearance of the throne of glory is like that of the heavens, also Tosfot, like the like of a paved work of sapphire stone, and the like of the very heaven for clearness in Exodus 24:10, indicating that the sky is like a sapphire brickwork. And it is written, the likeness of a throne and the appearance of a sapphire stone in Ezekiel 1:26. It is told in the Bible that Rabbi Meir would say, the punishment for not attaching white strings is greater. So what's the footnote? God owns Shalava. The punishment for not attaching white strings to one's garment is greater than the punishment for not attaching sky blue strings. As white strings are always readily available to all, and sky blue wool is not. Rabbi Sefer Haba Chassis 2:9. And the punishment for not attaching sky blue strings, despite the fact that the sky blue strings are more important, Rabbi Meir illustrates this with a parable. To what is this matter comparable? It's comparable to a king of flesh and blood who said to his two subjects that they must bring him a seal. The king said to one of them, bring me a seal of clay, and he said to the other one, bring me a seal of gold. And both of them were negligent and did not bring the seals. Which of them will have a greater punishment? You must say that it is this one to whom he said, bring me a seal of clay, and despite its availability and low cost, he did not bring it. It is taught in a Bible that Rabbi Meir would say a person is obligated to recite 100 blessings a day. One is obligated to recite a minimum of 100 blessings every day. On Shabbat, when the prayers contain fewer blessings, one should eat additional food and delicacies and small spices in order to complete the quota of blessings. I'm going to say, Kohanim 7:14, Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim 463-191. As it stated in the verse, and now Israel, what ma does the Lord your God require of you? Deuteronomy 10:12. And may interpret the verse as though it said 100 ma rather than ma. The Gemara relates that on Shabbat and festivals when the prayers contain fewer blessings, Rav Chia, son of Rav Avia, made an effort to fill his quota of blessing with blessings on spices. Is palmake. This word apparently derived from the Iranian is palm is pramak, a flower or fragrant herb and sweet fruit, of which he would partake in order to recite extra blessings. It is taught in a Bible that Rabbi Meir would say a man is obligated to recite 3 blessings every day, praising God. Chayev Adam Levarach Shalosh Brachos B'chol Yom. These three are included in the quota of 100 daily blessings, despite the fact there is no specific catalyst for citing them, like the blessing mentioned in Brochat 60b, where Bain and Gershon Mohagola. Some explain that all of these blessings were mentioned here because of the blessing, "You do not make me a woman," which relates to the fact that a woman is not obligated to the mitzvot, e.g., ritual finish, and that's from the Ben Yehoyada. Praising God for his kindnesses, and these blessings are: who did not make me a Gentile, who did not make me a woman, who did not make me an ignoramus. Rav Aha bar Yaakov heard his son reciting the blessing, who did not make me an ignoramus. Rav Aha bar Yaakov said to him, "Is it in fact proper to go this far in reciting blessings?" Kulei Hanami, Rashi's first explanation of this statement is that Rav Aha rebuked his son for praising himself for not being an ignoramus, which shows haughtiness, says the Rid. Rashi's second interpretation is that these blessings were intended as thanks for being obligated in mitzvot, as Gentiles are not obligated in most mitzvot, and even women are not obligated in some mitzvot. By contrast, I think the man is obligated in all mitzvot. Others explain that one should praise God for creating him in ways that pertain to his natural state of existence, whereas one achieves the status of a scholar rather than ignoramus due to his own dedication to study. Karen, very interesting. But Yaakov's son said to him, "Rather, what blessing should one recite? If you say that one should recite, do not make me a slave, that is the same as a woman." Haina Isha. Rashi explains that the comparison is that both women and Canaanite slaves are exempt from positive time-bound mitzvah. Why should one recite two blessings about the same matter? Abaha Bayakov answered, "Nevertheless, a slave is more lowly than a woman, and therefore it's appropriate to recite an additional blessing having not been a slave." This goes on to the next omen, but I'll just finish off the footnote here, what it means when it says more lowly, zil tafei. A Canaanite slave must perform menial tasks for his master, whereas a husband is obligated to honor his wife. And that's from the Siddur saluted the Abraham. Alternatively, although both women and Canaanite slaves are exempt from positive time-bound mitzvot, Canaanite slaves are of lower stature, that they may not marry Jews. That's the end of the Almond. I wish you a very good day and all the best. Bye.